Queen's Comic Podcast. Hey, let's go.
Hey, folks, this is the Queen's Comic Podcast. I'm Billy Bombs,
I'm Ian.
and let's get started. We got some funny stuff. You want to do comics? You want to do drama first?
Comics first, drama last.
All right. All right. You go first.
All right. I got a pile. This is all stuff that I picked up last weekend, either at Midtown or at Streetside Anthony's or at Oh Yeah Comics in Harrison. Because Oh Yeah had
Oh yeah.
they had a pretty cool sale on Saturday, 60% off and a bunch of dollar bin stuff. It is in no order, and I'm not going to pretend I remember where I got it, except obviously the new books came from Midtown. So, boom. Return of the Living Dead #2.
Yeah, I just got that too.
This comic is not good.
No, it's not. It's just for the cover. He's the A cover for the whole run.
Yeah, and his covers are nice, but the comic, very disappointing. 2 thumbs down.
Oh, I wish I had more hands to give him more thumbs down, huh?
Yeah. And then speaking of Mark Spears, Monsters #3 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't say no to the Frankenstein variant because Frankenstein is undisputably the greatest of the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
And the Ilsa variant as well.
That's the only copy I didn't get. I had to buy it from somebody on eBay.
Yeah, well, rest in peace, Diane Thorne. And then the latest issue of Hello Darkness, which is #7, which is Boom's current ongoing horror anthology. Really good stuff.
Nice.
All right. So non-new books. A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance #1. I found this in the dollar bin. I like Rick Remender's stuff. I had not read it. The first issue was good.
Yeah, I love his work as long as he stays away from time travel.
Yeah, there's no time travel so far in this one. It's just like an Asian dude getting into trouble.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
A Swamp Thing annual that I needed. I now have every annual from the second Swamp Thing series, so that's a pretty important accomplishment right there. This one came from Streetside Anthony. He hooked me up with a great price. It's also beat to shit, which is why I got the great price. But Panic #4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so another original EC. Great Basil Wolverton cover on there. So happy to get that, even if it has been chewed up. A few oddball dollar bin books from Oh Yeah. I got some Carl Barks Donald Duck stuff.
Nice.
Anytime I see those cheap, I pick them up because they're fun.
I love those covers.
Yeah, this one is in really nice shape. Uncle Scrooge on the cover there.
Mm-hmm.
A few more issues of Saga of the Swamp Thing. Alan Moore.
That's a very good cover.
It is a very good cover. So is that one.
Hell yeah.
And that's an even better cover.
Who painted those covers? Because I see that all the time, that image.
This one was Steve Bissett and John Toddleben.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I am now down, out of 171 issues and 8 annuals for Saga of the Swamp Thing, I'm down to missing 20. So I'm getting real close on that run. And the ones I need are just run fillers. I have all the big ones. I have the first Constantine. I have the first Cameo, the Justice League Dark, all that stuff. I just need the ones I need are like $2 or $3 books.
The Mark Millar run?
Yeah, Mark Millar and some of the Nancy Collins issues.
They just decided to put it out as a big ultimate collection of Mark Millar.
Yeah. This was a cool $5 pickup at Oh Yeah. It's a Sotheby's auction catalog.
That's cool.
Nothing but old Mad Magazine artwork. So it's kind of like
I kind of wish you told me you collect those because I had a stack of Sotheby's of different auctions.
I don't specifically collect them, but it's EC related.
Fair. Okay, so if I see EC, I'll know.
Yeah. So it's what you'd expect from an auction catalog. You know, reproductions of a lot of the artwork that was for sale at the auction with some notes on them. Not something I would have paid up for, but $5 seemed like a pretty fair price. Another EC reprint that I did not have.
That's cool.
Working on my Eternals run. So issue 14.
You know, that's the only run I've kind of tried to stay away from the Kirby collection.
I like it.
I don't know why, but you know what it is? I'm doing Forever People. I'm doing New Gods. I'm doing Mr. Miracle. I think I finished. I got to double check. And then Commandy, nothing. I don't want to do nothing Commandy, but it's hard not to. And Sandman. But because, like, sometimes I feel like the Eternals and New Gods is the same shit.
It's very similar.
Yeah, the only thing is that he said that his Forever People books are based on hippies he met.
Mm-hmm. I have the full Forever People run. I have the full OMAC run. I have the full Sandman run. I'm working on Eternals. I'm working on Mr. Miracle, and I'm working on New Gods. I'm close on them. Commandy, I have like the first 15 or 20 issues. I like Commandy. I think it's a lot of fun, but I know it's not your thing.
No. I have all the trade paperbacks. I just can't get that one too.
Yeah. Two more Eternals, issue number 2
Very
and
nice.
issue number 19, which is the last issue of the series. So I think I'm missing 2 or 3 to finish that run, so I'll probably finish it soon. Tomb Raider Origins number 1 because it was cheap and it's
You
got
love them.
a cool David Finch cover on it. Some Charlton sci-fi from the late 50s. Space War number
That's a
1.
great cover.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Another Swamp Thing run filler, which is from the Mark Millar run.
Yeah.
The last issue I needed of Richard Corbin's 5-part Hellblazer story.
Oh my God. The Hellblazer Hard Times set
Huh?
is so good.
Yeah.
And he give me 1 second. Yeah. The dog is shaking my door. And I'm like, yo, dude, give me fucking 30 minutes.
He wants to be on the show.
Yeah, but the problem is then he starts biting things and he wants a cookie and then he wants stuff. And I'm like, yo, I've only been home for 5 minutes. Let me sit down.
He wants to do dog stuff.
The Hellblazers are fantastic with Ryan Azzarello writing them.
Yeah.
Richard Corbin is great artwork. And then he has a lot of art. All the covers are all Tim Bradstreet.
Yep.
So that's the perfect combo of great hardcore cover. And then you open it up and it's like really scary kind of artwork because Corbin fits like prison books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish they'd done more together because they also did Banner for Marvel.
Yes, yeah, that was
And
a pretty good. That's Garth Ennis, isn't it? Or no, it's Brian Azzarello. You're right.
Brian Azzarello, and I think he also wrote the Cage miniseries that Corbin did for Marvel.
Yes. That one is one of the best.
Good team.
When that is the coolest version of Cage when he's just in the strip club staring at a mirror of himself.
Yeah.
And it's him reflecting all the people who died because of him.
Mm-hmm.
What a hardcore comic.
It hits pretty hard, yeah. For a Marvel book, it hits pretty hard. More Tomb Raider nonsense. I don't know why I pick them up when they're cheap.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Cool Michael Turner cover on that. Some more Swamp Thing run fillers. Nothing major, but again, I'm real close to finishing that set.
Mm-hmm.
I like that cover.
Nice. That's a good cover.
A few more EC reprints because they were cheap. These came from Street Side Anthony, I think. And last but not least, Mysteries of Unexplored Worlds, another Charlton from the early 60s.
It's got Abe Lincoln on the cover.
Yeah, it's got Abe Lincoln on there. This guy, Dr. Nolan Conrad, is his name, and he's trying to save Abraham Lincoln from getting assassinated. So that's nice of him.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah, because time travel doesn't work like that, but still.
What'd you pick up?
A lot of the same as you, so it might be a lot of doubles.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up Gunslinger Spawn finally.
Okay.
Same as you. My Epitaphs from the Abyss EC.
Are you caught up on reading
Simpsons books. Huh?
Are you caught up on reading Epitaphs?
No, I have not read any of them, to be honest with you. Like, I haven't had time, but like I didn't want to I'm supporting books because I wanted to come out.
Right. Well, the first
I got the
issue
same
was the
monster
weakest.
books and Return of the Living Dead. I have 2 Frankensteins if anybody needs one.
Cool.
I ordered a Toxic Avenger special cover. Didn't come, of course.
All right.
It's terrible, but they wrote to my one true love, Billy Bombs, on the first issue, so I love them. I got a variant of Mark Spears #3 with the Witch.
Right. I like the kind of Marvel anniversary border thing that they use there.
Yeah, but I don't know what incentive book this was supposed to be. That now I got that instead of the Elsa book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I picked up the Horserer.
I don't know what that is.
It's garbage. It is from 2000 something, from Extreme Corp Comics. It is the dumbest comic I ever read. I got a bunch of stupid shit like that.
Were you dollar
Let me
bin
take a
diving or
break
something?
and show you this. Let me show you the stupid stuff. Like, actually, I didn't pick up the stupid stuff. I put it away to get rid of. But I found indie books from people that were at our show. So it looks like Desert Island threw away a lot of their books that they couldn't sell and gave it to Big Reuse. So I found them. So I found this crappy book. But then I found Nightmare City Halloween, which is Olive Nicole, one of our regulars at our show.
That's cool.
Which this one is sold out. I was so happy to get it. and this is one of her magazines. Like I recognize the stamp on the back.
Mhm.
I just hope she got paid for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I picked up a lot of oddball ones, like another Horserer. Come on, the Horserer. It's the stupidest thing I ever said. You know, and then but then I got really dumb and I went for some Mads that I found, and I needed to ask you about one of them. Who might have drew this cover?
It's hard to tell on camera.
Yeah, it looks like a Joe Jusko type thing or something like that.
It's painted, right?
Yeah, it's a painted cover. Let me see if they even tell me. I'm sorry if I'm holding everybody up for 1 second, but it's kind of annoying me because I hate when they have covers and it's not right away to tell you. And you're like, yo, just tell me, bastards. And it's from 2004, but it's cool. But then you get a painted cover like this one, which I thought was fantastic. With somebody named Herman of the Incredible Hulk.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I got this one, obviously, because I'm a Mets fan, but mad with the Mets guy on the cover.
Mhm.
Oh, and then I got this teas and marijuana, not to smoke.
That's important. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
Don't do
In
drugs.
here is like a bunch of stickers I might have threw in there because it was such a shit show at the store of pulling stuff out. I know I pulled an acid nun sticker somewhere, but I just don't know where it ended up. Uno momento, por favor, because it'll drive me crazy. But then, and now, well, that's it for what I got at the big reuse. But here's 3 books that are this week that literally came out today, but I picked them up yesterday. Cruel Kingdom #2, the new EC book.
Cool. I'll be picking up my copy on Saturday.
Yeah. Another Mark Spears book, Shazam.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's came out. And the last book I picked up is I'm a Maria Wolf fan, so I got her cover of Phoenix.
Nice.
It's fantastic. And somewhere in here is like a sticker that I swiped. So I don't know, from Acid Nun. Just now I can't remember now I got Acid Nun right now. I can't find it. But that's pretty much it picking up because it was very light.
Yeah.
Because of how do you say this? What's the word that describes it? Because of the dumbass Steve Jeppy. We're not getting our books. But I have his chapter 11 notice that he's given out. So I don't know if it says exactly what it is. It just says the debtor's attorney, which I'm not going to name all this up, but every single store got this. And they filed for chapter 11 on January 14th of this year.
Mhm.
Let's see. They're not telling in person exactly who's owed to what, but I have a feeling anybody who owes money for 90 days is going to be shafted by this.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I wanted to read it online, but there's not much to read here. It's like because I work for the courts to some degree, so I was expecting at least something else. In just Comics Exporters Incorporated, Comics Holdings Inc., and Diamonds Like Toys. These are the debtors and their attorneys, and they have like a place in Maryland. No offense, they could have like done a better job on this. They could have done a better job with a lot of stuff.
Right.
But this is what happens when you fuck around and find out.
Yep.
You threaten your own customers. Say there's no game in town, and they taught you what's up. And now you're suing GameStop. They're suing GameStop. Well, no, GameStop is suing them, and they're trying to re-sue GameStop because of a lot of when toys are being released, they couldn't deliver on time. The video game, let's say a statue came out for Gears of War, they couldn't come up in time with it, no matter how much time they gave them.
Yeah.
It's always a month extra. But what do you think overall of this one?
What do I think of the Diamond situation?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I feel bad for the people that worked there. I don't feel bad
Of
for
course.
the ownership. I feel like a lot of this was preventable, and they did it to themselves.
Yes.
Even back when I worked at a comic store in the late '90s, briefly, there were problems with Diamond even then. Stuff would show up late, stuff would show up damaged. Those stories continued to the modern day. So Marvel and DC leaving them obviously put a big hole in their income.
Yeah.
But
Image jumped ship. They were smart.
they were smart. Boom has not Boom, I'm sorry. Scout has decided to self-distribute.
Yeah, they'll be fine with that.
They'll be fine with that. Boom, I think, already left.
I think Keen Spot, who does the Mark Spears books, has to do it themselves now.
Mm-hmm.
and Dynamite's the only one. But Dynamite has enough money to buy out the debt.
Yeah.
But why would you want to?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Do you for that effort? Just put out your own books.
Yeah, and that may be what happens.
Yeah, which is better off because right now we do have a problem with shipping here and there, but they can figure it out.
Yeah.
But with Jeppy and all these, there's no figuring out. That's over. Goes over. You know what I mean with him. But that's pretty much it for them. Then the other big news. Should we go local or should we go national?
We'll go local first. I got one.
Go for it.
So locally, it looks like the Koch warehouse is finally closing for real.
Oh, what's the date that they gave you or the
End
time?
of February.
One more class trip?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. But they're doing local auctions this week. They've got lots of like famous monsters. They've got lots up of Funko Pops and toys, and then different lots, and I mean auction lots of like Beatles memorabilia and stuff. They put all the information out in their newsletter. Nothing that I needed specifically, but there are people out there who collect that type of stuff, and maybe you can get a deal. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what it goes for. Some of the starting bids were a little higher, I think, than they should be if you're liquidating, but that's how it goes over there. But it might be worth going and hitting the dollar bin aisles like before the end of the month just to see what they throw in there.
And look at all the dead soldiers one more time, all of us.
Exactly. I know we said we were never going to go back, but it really is.
I just can't do that because the people like Brooklyn Comics, the guys Gary and Gary. I'm having a brain fart the other guy because James. Yeah, James. I always freeze up. James is the one I talk to the most about everything.
Yeah.
And Gary's like the best go getter I ever met in my life. They've tried their best to help that store, and you could tell them they've done it with a big heart. And they're going to continue on trying to do whatever they can because they do a show with us. They're at the next Queen's Comic Party.
Good. I haven't seen them in a while. They're the nicest guys you could hope.
I love those two guys.
Yeah, me too.
They are bros to the end. So I can't wait to hang out with them. And then James can make fun of me for forgetting his name because I know him.
Yeah.
I know he will do that. It's going to be a good show with them, but they tried their best to keep everything going. I haven't met two guys have worked that hard to try and keep shit going together, but you're not you have no control over the landlord and you have no control over Joe.
Right.
You know, Joe's like Joe's doing his best. He's selling what he can. I would like to make one more trip. We'll make it. You said end of February, end of this month. So I guess Queen's Comic Party is doing another class trip to Koch's warehouse.
Yeah, I guess against our better judgment.
Against my will, I will be there.
Time to mask up and put on the gloves.
No, I'm going to bring a straight jacket so you guys bring me in. Two things I got to say. One, I hope I know it might be already gone. The Elvis Presley head from Saved by the Bell they had, the bust, where it's like Elvis like, I love that one. Because that's the one that Screech destroys and then they have to find a new one before his mother comes home on Saved by the Bell. They have the exact replica, the exact statue. And two, Beatles memorabilia. I want to hold your hand and go. That dad joke right there. All right, so that's that. All right. Shit, man. That is literally the end of an era. That's that place is 3 years older than me.
Yeah, that place has been there a while.
Yeah. So let's do it. And then we'll hit up some other spots if you guys want. I think St. Mark's Comics has been doing a couple of sales lately. You know what? I've been lonely lately. I want to get followed around. You know, when you get that joke, you'll call me. So we'll go to St. Mark's Comics after Koch's, and you want to make a day out of it with the guys?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Let's look into off camera putting a plan together.
Yeah, because I don't mind. And anybody listens, if you want to join up, hit up the Queen's Comic Party when I post it later this week.
Yeah, follow the Instagram page.
The Instagram page or the Queen's Comic Party website.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that up there when we have it sorted out.
Yeah, when we figure it out. All right. The other local thing is the crazy shenanigans, seeing people we know getting accused of multiple crazy predator stuff. And people are like, oh, it's an original site. I'm like, yo, bro, that's not even English.
So, do you want to name the Instagram page?
No, because it's all complete lies. Because you could tell because I couldn't see it because the guy who made it blocked me already.
Okay, so let's explain for people who are clearly going to have no idea what we're talking about. There's an Instagram page that has recently been put online by somebody we will not name. They used to be a whatnot seller.
Accusing a well-known booker, a comic convention booker,
Yep.
of child stuff that they made up. And they're like, oh, we're going to dox them. But they're putting up text messages, but with no phone number at the top. So it could be a phone number between
no
me and you.
names, and clearly no proper grasp of the English language, which is what the accused person speaks.
Yeah. So you could tell it's all fake.
Yep.
And it's a lot of stuff put into it that are little things of harassment and contacting the guy's business, contacting other vendors,
Mhm.
and everybody knowing, oh, come on, man, you lost your mind. You're making this up. And don't believe the internet. Instagram has become a cesspool again. And I'm sure I'm going to be up next with my own phone number going to be posted up sooner or later. So let's see.
Who knows? Yeah, this person, the person who put this page up, is not above hitting low, obviously.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
person being accused, I don't know very well, but I certainly don't believe that he's in any way guilty of what he's being accused of. It's
Yeah, making up some child stuff is like
inviting underage boys over to his house to see his Batman figures and teach them wrestling moves.
I'm like, yo, man, this is the most incompetent setup I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the person who put up
that's
the
the
page, the person who put up the page is seriously opening themselves up for a libel suit.
The problem is that, like, yeah. Let's see, he's giving me a lot of problems too. Yeah, he's giving me a lot of problems too. But you got to hunt this little midget down. So
I can tell you this: if I was the one being accused of this, I'd get a lawyer and I'd sue that son of a bitch for everything I could.
yeah, but if I get in any of these sites, I'm going to post this guy's address on our podcast and everything, and I don't care if I dox anybody.
Well, you do
because
what you
you're not
want to
going to
do.
accuse me on the internet.
I'd go after this guy and take all his money.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, this is definitely a guy who has nothing, but you got to crush him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So on to national news, and hopefully people don't hate me for saying this. Neil Gaiman's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's being taken to court for sexual assault and human trafficking.
The human trafficking part's new to me. Where the fuck did that come from?
This was on the news yesterday afternoon.
What news? Like
the national news. It was on NPR.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So I can look it up. That's why, because sometimes I have to look up Bleed It Cool and then my computer crashes.
Because of all the pop-ups and crazy ads.
Yeah, dude. It's like, what the hell am I reading, man?
Yeah. No, it was on the news yesterday afternoon. The female that was working as a babysitter for Gaiman and Amanda Palmer, who was a big part of the podcast that initially broke this story and who was then interviewed extensively by the New Yorker, is now filing suit. And that, to me, lends a lot more credibility to the case. Now,
100%. It changes everything for me, too, what I was thinking.
Yeah, Gaiman is obviously innocent until proven guilty. These are so far accusations. We have to be clear that he has not been found guilty in a court of law yet. So he deserves the benefit of the doubt, just like anybody else put on trial. But with the woman who leveled the first round of accusations now being serious enough about things to take it to court, that to me says this is more than just he said, she said stuff. And Amanda Palmer is very likely going to get dragged into court as well. She did apparently send a text message. Do you know the background of the story?
Not too much if you want to go into detail. Because all I know is about some bathtub outdoors.
Yeah, so the short version, the very short version. Anyone who wants more details should read the article in the New Yorker. But the very short version is that there was a young woman who was very down on her luck, who met Amanda Palmer, was a huge fan, expressed this to Amanda Palmer, who said, "Oh, look, you're down on your luck. Look, I could use a babysitter." So she hired this young woman, to be a babysitter for her son with Neil Gaiman. Now, they were separated at the time. Palmer sent the woman over to Gaiman's house to watch the kid one night, where Gaiman was like, "Oh, you seem stressed out. I have a bathtub just set up in the garden. Why don't you go relax in the bathtub?" And he pressured her into doing it, so she says. And before you know it, she was naked in the bathtub, and moments later, Gaiman joined her, and trying to keep things PG here, did things to her without her permission.
I picture just Swamp Thing getting into the tub.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
I thought of it differently. Because now you're explaining it, now I understand why it's a big deal.
well, there's more to it than that. So this woman was obviously scared, but
Mhm.
Gaiman, being in a position of power and affluence, was able to keep her quiet. And there were multiple repeat offenses, one of which included, and again, these are allegations. I want to make that clear. Um, she was in a hotel room with Gaiman and her son, and he had his way with her while the son was sitting a few feet away playing on an iPad without any headphones on. It's pretty twisted.
Okay.
Pretty twisted
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Did he tell her to call him master?
Yes. And so did the son at one point.
Oakley dokley.
It's
So
pretty twisted.
there was a point because of hearing this part of the story, the master part in the bathtub. Bathtub threw me off. Because no offense, if I end up in your bathtub, I got questions. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But now I understand a little bit better. When you're messed up, you end up in bad places,
She was
especially if you do
vulnerable.
bad.
The woman in
Yes.
question was very vulnerable. That much is obvious. May have possibly had some issues of her own that she was working through, was clearly in need of money, and like was essentially relying on Palmer and Gaiman to support her. So when you're in that situation, you don't have a lot of room to fight back at the moment. Now, she did wait a
Yeah.
while. She did wait a while before coming forth with these allegations, which to me is always a little suspect, but I'm also not a woman being preyed upon, and I can't pretend to understand how somebody who is in a fragile situation like that would react. It might take time to come to grips with that type of thing. Everyone's personality is different, right? So, since she came out, multiple accusers have also come out with stories about Gaiman that are similar. He was apparently fairly predatory at different conventions, and for a guy who put himself out there as like a hardcore ardent feminist, this is kind of a lot of people are understandably very upset, and I get it. I will say that when I was at Yeah Comics on Saturday, I was talking to the owner Mark. The issue of
Mhm.
Sandman came up, and he said that he had 3 people over the last few days call him offering to sell their Sandman collection, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
said no. And that led into what I think should be our next topic: is do you separate the art from the artist? Because he and I got talking about it, and I said, look, if I got rid of everything I owned that was created by a problematic artist, half my record collection would be gone, half my movie collection would be gone, and a good chunk of my books and comics too. I own Roman Polanski films. I can't defend what these guys do. A lot of them are shitty people, but
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who does. I do have to separate the art from the artist. I do. I'm not going to light my Sandman comics on fire. I didn't light my Warren Ellis comics on fire a couple of years ago when the allegations about him came out. I held on to them because I enjoy them. Will I support new efforts from Neil Gaiman? Unlikely. Very
Yeah.
unlikely.
Yeah. Um, I got a lot of problems with a couple of artists, a couple of writers. Like Alan Moore's later work is trash and very creepy and sexual and incestuous. And Neil Gaiman, to be honest with you, the part that hits me home is that I'm supposed to be tattooed tomorrow to death from Sandman. It's now becoming Joey Ramone from Durf Back Durf
Yeah.
because I cannot separate the artist from that. I'll read the books one day. I have a thing about the Sandman.
Mhm.
I have a really big thing about the Sandman. I love the Sandman. It's the first trade paperback I ever got. I got The Doll's House in 1995 in Manhattan on a class trip from IS 77. We went to Barnes and Nobles in Manhattan. I have no idea what kind of class trips we were taking, but we went to the city. So that was cool. So I bought that trade. I have it somewhere from since I was a kid. Um, I had a falling out with a friend of mine when I sold him a trade paperback collection, and we had a huge fight over it, like a huge fight. And then he unfortunately passed away a month later.
Yeah.
So that book, all of those books, I realized I will never stress about money between a friend. I will never argue with a person I'm selling or buying comics from. I will never take it to heart any deal we make till the day I fucking die,
Mhm.
because none of this shit is worth it. Because like, don't get me wrong, I made a magazine a few years later and I dedicated it to his name was Crispin. He was Crispin Toby, one of the biggest nerds I ever met in my life. He was a big ghost head. But our bond was everything: Family Guy, Simpsons, Ghostbusters. That's where the ghost heads come from. He died before the documentary got big. He died before all this nerd stuff because I was like 30. No, I was 28 when this happened. I was 27. I'm 40 now. That's how long ago he's been
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Time flies. So you don't hold it hard. But to go and get it tattooed on me now, I was going to get the last panel from the funeral where she gives you peace. She gives you, I forget the words now because it slipped my mind. It's a panel where she was a red dress.
Right.
And I thought it was cool. I'm going to move on. It's going to be Joey Ramone on one side and Superman on the other. Because Superman, the character, has outlived all these terrible writers. And you know what? That's the only way you can really separate the material because nobody's ever taken the Sandman and moved on.
Yeah.
He's the only writer of Sandman. They canceled season 3 of Sandman, C'est la vie. People were all pissed off about death, which I'm confused about because who cares? You know what I mean? Like
I wanted to see the show continue until the allegations came out. I liked season 1. I was really looking forward to season 2, which I believe Netflix is still putting out later this year.
because they already spent the money on
They
it.
spent millions of dollars on it, and it's basically close to done. So I
Yes.
understand that they need to recoup that investment because it would be a significant investment. But are people going to watch it? You know, I will because again, I'll separate the art from the artist. But
I believe a lot of people watch it because you have a whole generation of people who don't believe nobody, and you have a whole generation of people that'll support you whatever till the end.
yeah,
And the only thing that matters is the individual is okay. Because that's the thing where we forget letting the individual recover from this.
right, of course.
You know.
But I own every single issue of Sandman.
I own a majority of them, and I have all the trades. And and usually, as a gift, I give the first trade to people that I first meet.
I've given the trades to people as well. Volume 1, some people when I lived in Oregon, a couple of friends of mine were like just dipping their toes into comics. They weren't into the superhero stuff, but they liked kind of horror and fantasy and alternative stuff. I was like, start with Sandman #1. I got a copy of the trade. Here you go, because I've got the originals. I don't need it, and it got them hooked. When I was buying them off the rack as a teenager, and it was so different and so unique, and it got huge even then. Like Neil Gaiman was a fucking rock star in the 90s, man, and up until this day, up until recently, was on rock star level, and he became a phenomena outside of comics, what with American Gods and the other projects that were adopted from his work. And I never looked at him as a hero per se. I never idolized the guy, but a lot of people did. And so this hurts a lot of people in a lot of ways, aside from just it being a writer whose work they enjoyed falling from grace. I mean, a lot of people had very, very personal connections to his writing and to his different characters and stuff. And I feel terrible for those people. Never meet your idols, right?
Well, comics will break your heart.
Yep, that's what everyone says, and there's a reason for it. But
yeah, I hope people find a peace in it. There's a band called Abstract Void. There's a song, I think, When the Sun Sets or something like that. I'll send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
It perfectly encapsulates the scene when Sandman faces off against one of the demons in hell to try and get his mask back. I think it is, or was it the mask?
Yeah, the helmet.
The helmet, and in my head, if they ever did a movie or a scene from there, that's a song that I pictured the demon would sing about his own torment and life, and like, yeah, you know what it is. Some stuff never gets finished. It always got to me when people don't ever see the ending of a story if they really are a big fan.
Yeah,
and you die before something gets put out, or like Freddie Mercury died before Wayne's World came out to the world, but he got to see the car scene with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
and that's fantastic, man. But think about like there's people in my life that I always regret they never got to see the last Ghostbusters. Like Christopher never got to see that Ghostbusters. And I always get like the Sandman. Actually, I got really fucking mad at because they came out with this book called The Dream Hunters, and it really fucking pissed me off because he didn't make it to see it. You know what I mean? Like, as dumb as that sounds, the comics mean everything to me.
Yeah.
And I know they mean everything to you too, but like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you have a responsibility to be what your characters are. You have a responsibility to be a good person because you put yourself out there to be a celebrity or anything like that. even if only 5 people have come to my show, I held myself to a standard that I must be a better person than I come off. Even if I piss you off or I shit on you, or I argue with you, I will apologize because I do not want you to go home angry. Nobody should ever go home like that. And if you're a famous writer and you write one of the greatest goddamn comics in the history of comics, and you turn out to be an asshole, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't expect to say all this. I really didn't expect this. I didn't expect to be so many Jeppies in the world.
Yeah.
but there's a lot more.
No, I know what you
Alan
mean.
Moore,
It
for a
puts
lot of stuff.
It puts a black stain on the entire hobby.
Yes, because it doesn't stop happening.
Right.
Every single one of these guys get accused of using their power to talk to women. I'm like, yo, dog, there's plenty of fish in the sea, man. You pick one fish.
Yeah.
Stick with them. Life is hard. You know what I mean? They're like, oh no, I'm an artist. I'm poly. I'm this. I feel like hitting you with my car. You know what I mean? How much time we got left?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Let's wrap this up. This is the Queen's Comic Party. I'm Billy Bombs.
I'm Ian.
See you next time.
Sorry if this episode was a downer.
Sorry about that.
Bye.
Bye.
Queen's Comic Podcast.